In the studio with us right now is our longtime friend and what we like to call co-star Steve Byrne is here.
Hey.
Who gave us our first opportunity to be on television. Do you remember how that came up, that conversation?
Guilt?
Well, I definitely guilted you into it. But I was talking about Cheers, and I was watching Cheers one time, and those two yahoos from L.A., Mark and Brian, who I've never heard their radio show, can't say anything good or bad about it. I just knew they had a TV show that nobody, where they married each other or something. It was like them doing stupid reality stuff before reality TV.
Right.
One time I was watching Cheers, and in one of the scenes that Sam was in, he was sitting at the bar talking to these two guys in the background, and it was Mark and Brian, and I thought, that's the coolest thing ever. And then when you did a show at a bar, I was like, hey, I want to just be one of those guys that sit at the bar. And you said, if we go into season 2, I will. And the minute they signed for season 2, we called you and we're like, should we book our flights?
Yeah, you're sitting there going, oh, that's so cool. You're on the #1 show on NBC. And then you're like, you're there. And then you're on a summer show on ad-supported basic cable.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers lot.
Listen, that was so. We'll forever be tied together, not only for that, but the day that we were there. No, I'm sorry. It was the second time. This is what a nice guy you are. Mm-hmm. I was in L.A. shortly after that, and I was eating breakfast at the hotel lobby, and you texted me and said, are you in L.A.? And I said, you should come by the set. And I said, I would love to, but I have a couple of radio yahoos with me, and you're like, bring them. Just bring them.
Yeah.
So it made me look like super cool guy that I was like, you guys want to go? And then we met the dude from Big Bang Theory was guest host on the show. And I was like, I was the greatest guy in town. Now, at that time, we had been going through a long contract negotiation here. Right. And you said, take the golf cart out and go explore. So I went and took the golf cart to where like the little Back to the Future tower is.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in that thing, and then I get a call from Justin Stengel, who is the executive producer of Late Show with David Letterman. He texts me, Dave just announced in his meeting he's retiring. Don't put it on social media. And I was like, I mean, why telling me? Why do I know before everybody else? So I had to sit there with that information. And then right after that, my agent calls me and says, I think we hit a number that you're going to like. And I was like, this might be the best day of my life.
Oh, my God, really?
Yeah, all that stuff happened while I'm sitting in the middle of the Warner Brothers studio looking around at all these fake sets. I'm like, who am I? I don't know what's going on. Just riding around a golf cart on the Warner Brothers lot.
Did the plane go down? Did I die?
Right. I always say, I'm like, this. Sometimes I wonder if I died because all these things work so great in my favor.
But obviously, you've had such a storied career. You can't be shocked by it, right? I mean,
at that point, I was. At that point, I took a significant jump in money, like different house type of money, and that was.
How long had you been on the air from that part?
At the station or in general?
No. At that moment in time when you're sitting there, are you like 15 in?
Probably maybe 20. Yeah, and but I'd always made okay money. And then I made pretty decent money, and then I went.
Cue montage. Play Big Time by Peter Gabriel. He's renting a Mustang convertible. Big Time. Going down Rodeo.
But I had 2 kids, and I was like, this is it. I finally got to a part where I could exhale now.
Security,
you know what I mean? I wasn't going out and buying Ferraris, but I was a little bit. But all that while I'm chilling out on the set and hanging out, I'm like, this is the greatest point in my career. What's next for this?
What's next? Scores and cocaine. Let's go, guys. Big Time.
So that I will always associate that with you. And then my other favorite story that has to do with you is the first time we came out there to do the show, I stayed at Ralphie May's house. He was out of town. He's like, just go to my house, take my car, go live in Hollywood. I was like, okay. So I rolled out a convertible BMW and I'm driving. I just filmed an episode of your show. I'm like, Big Time. And then all of a sudden, Central Casting called me.
Right.
And I went, do they need me again? Do I have to go back? And she's like, is this Michael? And I go, yeah. And she goes, this is casting calling. And she's like, we need your social security number. And I go, for what? And she goes, so we could pay you. And I go, I got paid for that? And she goes, yeah. I go, how much? And she goes, I'm not allowed to say on the phone.
Yeah.
And I go, can I buy a boat? And I'll never forget this little black lady. She goes, you could buy a dinghy. Big time.
The montage slows down.
Turns black and white.
It was one of the best things ever.
Yeah, you could take a family of 4 to Sizzler.
Yeah, I think. Look, we were so excited to have the opportunity to be out there and sit on the set, and we got to meet Bartnick for the first time. We had a history with him, but we never met him before. And then Gary Cannon, and it was a great time.
Bartnick, he's not shy to be around alcohol. So I think
and Vaughn, Vince Vaughn, that was another great thing.
Yeah, it was a good crew, and you were on TV at a time when being on TV still somewhat meant something. Now it's just like it's so niche and spread out. At that time, though, it was just as streamers are kind of starting to pop. So to be like on TV at that time, like we were Summer Show, it was like 2 million people were watching that show every week, which is kind of crazy.
Even with the show being over and us already having been on the show, I will still say this. Very funny show.
Oh, thank you.
Very funny show and great writers and great staff people there. I mean, you had
great cast.
What's his name? Murray.
Brian Doyle Murray, Christine Ebersol, 2-time Tony Award winner, and then she's holding a rooster doing a cockfight scene. We're like, she won 2 Tony Awards. Why is she holding a rooster? It's crazy. Dan Lauria, Jody Long. Our writing staff was essentially, especially when we had Rob Long, Tom Anderson. It was like 2 EPs from Cheers, and then F.J. Pratt and Dan from Frasier, and then Howard Long from Home Improvement. So, I mean, these were great. Like ringers. So when people are like, oh, the show's not funny, it's like, if you only knew who was actually writing these jokes. And we're on in the summer at 9 o'clock. So TBS is like, we don't care what you guys do. So I mean, there were crazy. I mean, the whole thing with Owen Benjamin and Christine Ebersol's mom, the fact that that this son and mom, we couldn't tell if they were sleeping with each other, and they'd sing creepy songs to each other. And
by the way, we're speaking of Sullivan and Son for people who don't know. Because we didn't actually mention the name.
Not available anywhere, by the way. The second Asian American sitcom ever done after Margaret Cho's All American Girl, and then it was us. Then it was Dr. Ken, Fresh Off the Boat, and now like a multitude of Asian sitcoms. You can find any of those anywhere.
Except yours.
Sullivan and Son, you can't find it anywhere. It's not streaming anywhere.
I do own the episode that we're on.
What's that?
I own the episode that we're on. I bought it from Apple or whatever. Whatever.
You had to. But season 3, you can't find. They never put it out there. I have all 33 episodes on DVD, and maybe I'll just pirate it somewhere and just make it available.
But do you know that like one day your kids? How old are your kids now?
My daughter's 12. My son's 8. They have no interest.
They have no interest now, but one day they're going to be in their 30s going, my dad had his own TV show. Like, that's such a great, I think that's so cool.
Yeah, it could be a fun time capsule, but at the same time, there are also, like, we just did this big charity show for Mario Lemieux's Foundation in Pittsburgh. Sold out 2,000 people. We raised close to 100,000, I think 95,000.
And you guys do that every year, right?
Every year. Yeah. And what was my point?
I don't know.
Kids. My kids. Yeah. So my kids come every year, and I bring them out for the encore. And I'm like, yeah, you guys want to sing Mr. Brightside again? They're like, I don't know what my daughter's like, I don't know. Can I mix it up? And I'm like, what? You're not Taylor Swift. You're a 12-year-old that gets to do something super cool every year. And it's one of those things where I'm sure your kids have been privy to some really extravagant experiences that they think that's the norm.
Yes.
It's like, no, the norm is way up there in the nosebleeds. That's the norm.
They don't. My son used to say, on our way to a concert, are we sit in the front row or one of those boxes with the food?
Oh, man.
Like, he didn't know anything else.
Yeah.
He has been to every WrestleMania, every wrestling show, and sat in the front row for every show.
It is the norm.
It's not his fault.
For him, it is the norm.
It's like he doesn't know anything different. So when he has to buy a ticket for something to do it, he's like, I don't know. That's such a foreign thing to him. My daughter, who ironically happens to be in the studio right now with us. She's just sitting in the back over there. Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
She is the meanest human being alive.
I don't believe that.
Appreciates nothing. She's mean. She is going to see Taylor Swift in September or October, whenever that is, and she does not believe that I have any sort of fame or clout whatsoever. I have to find a good YouTuber to acknowledge me one time so that she could say, okay, my
How old is your daughter? Sorry.
She's 12.
My daughter's the same age.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, you can instantly look at somebody and just understand demeanor. She seems very sweet to me. I would not.
You are definitely a bad judge of character. She makes the most fat jokes of anybody I've ever seen.
I like her.
Yeah. Not just like the gentle kind, the kind that really hurt. You know what I mean? Yeah. She's definitely my child out of the two.
Well, it's interesting too, like kids at that age, what they Sigma. I'm sure you're hearing Sigma,
Rizzy.
Ohio.
Yeah,
Riz.
Hey, you know what's up. What's up, Riz? Yeah. That makes her so mad that we know those words.
I can't. I feel icky even saying it.
Yeah.
Sigma, Riz.
Because I don't know what they all really mean.
Skibbity toilet? I have no idea what skibbity toilet.
No, but when I say these things wrong, like the other day, I was arguing with them, and I said, "I will smash both of you," and they were like, "Gross," because that has sexual connotations.
With affection.
Yeah, I meant smash them, like beat their faces in, and they thought I meant I was going to make out with both of them. Gross.
My son, the things he pulls out of the ether sometimes. We watched Looney Tunes cartoons together.
Yeah.
8 years old. So the other day, my wife is it's like, Kent, for the 100th time, take your plate and put it in the sink, rinse it off, and put it in the dishwasher. And I'm like modifying the tone. She's kind of tearing into him.
Right.
And he just looks at me and he just goes, "I've been a bad boy." And it's one of those things where it's like, oh my God, that's where it's like redemptive. Where you're like, all right, this is pretty awesome.
She's so mean that it makes me proud.
Yeah.
And it's not just to me. Like, she'll say things about people in public and all that. I'm like, that's my daughter. Yeah. You definitely got my
cut
evil streak. Yeah. Well,
hey, your friend Steve's got a big forehead.
No.
There is a guy that we work with that we call Open Mouth Sally, who we're all like, clearly he's gay, but he's not gay, but he acts gay all the time, whatever. Tell him what she said about him, whatever.
She was trying to remember. She goes, "Remember that guy?" And I was like, "Which guy?" And she's like, "The gay guy who was at the..." I'm like, he's...
No, she goes, "The gay guy with the girlfriend."
Yeah, the gay guy with the girlfriend.
The Fruit Loop, Dad.